Hello and welcome back. I'm Joe and this is a tutorial for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. Today, in-house rail construction. Hey there! First things first, to construct your own rails, you need to go to construction and hit the rail construction office. It has 3 ends on 2 sides and then 2 factory connections and a conveyor connection. That's the word. I highly recommend that you use at least a small aggregate storage at the end because you actually do use a lot of gravel. And then if you have money, use an open storage on one of the other entrances. It's a lot easier to keep everything supplied if you set it up this way than just bring it in by trucks because you only have 3 parking spaces, and if you have any of them set to wait till full, you're not going to be able to actually supply everything. So keep that in mind when you set up your environment. I will just purchase the few things that we need, which is just all of these, depending on what you want. The last one, electrical components and fuel, that you can buy in here because both of those you don't need a lot of them, and it's only 2, so it's really easy to have 2 trucks wait in 3 spots because you can still use one of those spots for a bus to drop off people if you want. But yeah, that's the basic setup. I did say people, so let's not ignore that. You cannot construct anything unless you have people working here, and buildings without power supply. Most buildings, I'm not saying all of them, but most buildings that use people to do what they're doing need power to function. Otherwise, nothing works. So make sure you have power for this building. Let me try to get just a quick power plant build so we actually can get power. This one should be fine. And then we need a couple people that work here. And they are just however you want to get them here. I recommend when you do this to set it up so that you have a bus station somewhere near the rail construction office without having the bus station cross the rails that you're building. So just use a footpath or something similar to get to those places. I will just put a shopping center here because this will take a while to build everything. Almost done. Let's set this one up to get power, and now we are good to go. We have power, so everything works now. This one is filling up and pulling in everything at once, meaning this is an active building. It pulls in whatever it needs, and we can get started. You may see right at the beginning, current number of workers is 000. That means you don't have any train sets here that can actually construct anything. So let's buy one. I highly recommend getting this one. It's a mod, but it's an extra extended version of this crane. It speeds up everything a little bit. I've never actually played with this one. I don't know what it is. This one's the usual one that I normally use. And let's start with 1. Once you have one, there's 40 workers that can go in that one to do its thing. And then from here, it's relatively simple to get started. You have the 3 rail types. There is a wood-based railway, there is a concrete-based railway, and an electrified. The wood-based is only 70 kilometers per hour, and the concrete-based is 150. The only difference in building them is for the concrete one, you use prefab panels. For the wood one, you use just boards. Both of those are really cheap, so I highly recommend if you start out, don't go anything below concrete-based railway. The electrified railway has the same speed, so here it just depends on if you want to run fuel versus electricity. Okay, let's lay some track. Make sure you have the auto build using rubles turned off, and just lay something. It usually shows up white like this in the planning phase, which is great. I will highly recommend that you always go 2-way, so go one way on one side and the opposite way on the other side. So just normal drive on the right goes always forward. Can't get anything wrong there. So I highly recommend using 2 rails when you set this up. It's not necessary, you can do it without, but this causes a lot less headaches than what you usually would find. Here's a quick trick. When you set up your railway and you extend them, you see these little purple-ish icons somewhere? You can get rid of them, and that extends the actual construction side to be longer. There's a max limit, but you can just get rid of them by placing a semaphore on them, and then removing the semaphore. And now this is one piece of rail construction. First tip. And you can construct them. This right now is treated as a single construction. Great. How should you connect this? I like connecting them so that it can get to anything. The easiest way that I know is this. You just build a circle and connect one. You build 2 crossing sections here, and then build another circle that connects to another part of the building. If you have this, you will be able to have your trains go this way and construct everything on this side, and this way construct everything on that side, so you don't have any dead spots that the rail construction cannot hit. Great. Constructing these, obviously, I would highly recommend using 2 cranes because you have 2 pieces of rail that can be constructed. I will let this run real quick so you see how it works. So we should see this one start running pretty soon. There he is. Okay, these 2 will just complete the parts. Here's something you may or may not know. If you're constructing rail, and it's all non-electrified rail, the construction cranes will construct the piece of section that they're assigned to. So that is this one. And when they come to the end, they will actually look if there's another rail construction piece that is reachable from where they are right now. In this case, it should be this one. Sometimes they do a they flip around and do something weird. That's a problem in the program or in the game. But usually they go to the next one. If you have electrified rail, they complete the rail part of the construction side. Then they go back to the construction office, pick up the electrical parts. Then they place all the electrical poles for power. Then they go back to the construction office, and then they look for a new construction site. It takes a lot longer. So when you want electrification, sometimes it's worth it to wait until you can just do like a big piece, because you can upgrade rail where they pick up electrical pieces, and then they do the same thing where they only have electrical parts stored or on their trailer, and then they will go to the next sections. It just speeds up your process a lot because these cranes are relatively slow at the max speed. Let's see what they have. I don't actually know. 50 kilometers per hour. Most of the trains you will have in the game are between 90 and 140. I think they're probably more. But that matters once you get further away. And these have a range of... Where is it? They have an auto surge range of up to 4,500. And I would encourage you to set this to whatever you need. But yeah, maybe here we can see what I was talking about. This guy is technically done, but now he goes to the next section that he can construct. It's a bug in the game. He can't actually reach that piece, but this one should do the right thing. He just continues on, and he doesn't have to run back to the construction office, which is awesome. Cool. I will just auto build these real quick because they are not very important for what I want to show you next. There is a way for you to make this not blocking. And that's important because when you build rail like this, it is super easy to get in a deadlock. How do you get in a deadlock? Let me set one up for you. Let's see. Have you there. Okay. And you here. Just have 2 reachable sections of track. And then place any signal, even the mixed signals, won't matter. If you allow 2-way travel on a track, this one should have assigned itself. Yep, this one and this one. If you allow 2-way travel on a track, doesn't matter what track it is, the construction office will say, huh, there's stuff behind the signal that I can construct. So this train will come out here. If we look at our signals, everything is orange. Even if I place a signal here, it should still say the same thing. Yeah, everything is orange. So this is one block. This train is going to stay in this block until it's done constructing or until it runs out of construction material. And then we'll come back. It will get blocked at this signal, but this signal is blocking off your construction zone so that that the construction of the things that can go there. So both-way track, and the wording here is important, both-way track makes constructing rail super complicated because this happens. This train wants to come back, and now they're blocked. And you can't do anything. So what's the problem here? There is 2 rail construction sites after a signal, but the signal's 2 ways, so they block each other. How can we fix this? I will show you. Okay, we're going to have the same setup that we just had, but a little different. So here, construction out there again, and here, construction out this way again. Great. The only thing we're going to change is we're going to allow a crossover for the trains, and that crossover needs to be a one-way street. They should only be able to go one way in and one way out. What I mean? Set it up. I find this is really frustrating to do it yourself because right now if I put a signal behind here and make it one way, you cannot get your vehicle back. So I highly recommend that this is a piece that you just built. It's not super expensive at any point in the game, and it's super helpful. But now you can place a signal here that's one way, and another signal here that's also one way to get out. And if you now allow your trains to come out, that should happen pretty soon. Make sure these are assigned. So it's the same setup really, but now what you will have is a train waiting here after the first train passes. And there's a chain signal. In this case it could be any signal, but it's red now. This train will stop there, and it will wait for this train to complete whatever it's doing. So this train will turn around, but instead of being blocked at the same signal, it will take the crossing that we just put in and leave. You can make these crossings just simple or diamonds or whatever you want to do. It depends on the situation that you have, and if you really want to, you can totally construct them yourselves. But if you want to construct them yourselves, you need to have this signal both ways, and you need to make sure that that is the only piece of rail you're constructing on that whole block until there's another crossing or a diamond crossing like we have here. That's really all. When this train is done, you will see him turn around and we'll take the other route, which is why this piece is important, that both rails can be reached from the construction office. Very important. And this is just block logic. Right now, if you look at this, we have 2 blocks only. There's the orange block and the purple block. This is how the game works. The purple block is blocked because there's 1 train in the block. What do you have to do? You need to unblock the purple, which means put a signal here, and maybe put a signal here. Now you have the blue block and an orange block. There's still no one allowed to go into this section, but we can still make this a little better. Put a chain signal to get in, and a regular signal to get out. Watch my other signal guides. They will talk about that, but now we just have 3 different blocks, which would allow us to have up to 4 trains going in here. And that's really it. I highly recommend, if you do rail construction, make sure your signals are one way if you can. If you don't have signals one way, take the signals out. Don't allow any other additional trains to go in there until you have a one-way section. Another way you can do this, only ever allow 1 railway construction train or crane. Then you don't have any problems. Unless you are constructing in an area that has actual train traffic already happening. But this setup, I'm not saying it's the best setup, but it's a pretty safe setup. At these diamond crossings, make the entry to that diamond crossing a one-way, make the exit a one-way, and you shouldn't have problems with your rail construction. I hope I helped someone. If you have other questions or other things that you want me to talk about, let me know. Otherwise, if you like what you saw, like and subscribe. There will be more of these, probably. Rail construction is a pain, and there's a couple other things that are probably a pain too. So tune in again next time when I have something, and until then, bye!